Today's movement assessment is with a lady who has what I call a reverse S-shaped curve, meaning her upper back goes out to the right, it's about 75 degrees, and her lower back goes out to the left, and that is about 50 degrees. And so in these assessments, let me tell you what I'm looking for. I'm looking for whether or not the person has what we call text posture, whether their hips are forward, whether or not their neck is forward, like have they got this sway back in their hips, have they got their head forward, and is gravity basically taking control. We're also looking for how the spine and the scoliosis are affecting the rest of their body and how the rest of their body is affecting their scoliosis. I want to look at their feet as well. Do they have feet that are collapsed down and in with the arches because they've maybe used conventional footwear their whole life and they're tight? Maybe their toes are pushed inwards like this, like a bunion, or are their feet spread out like the person on the right here, where they have a more natural foot shape? Can they squat? Can they actually go down beyond maybe sitting in a chair beyond 90 degrees? It's not something that we lose as we age, but it's something that we lose as we age in a Western culture where we don't tend to squat very much. So do they have the strength and the flexibility in their hips to do this? And lastly, when they walk or run, do their feet turn inwards when they push off at the back? You can see here that this person, these are two sort of athletes in their prime, but both of their feet turn inwards. Is there a spiral in their back foot as it pushes off? Or does it spiral the other way, which is very common when we walk? We see people walk with that sort of duck foot walk where their feet are turned outwards from the toes. Now, we actually believe that the foot turning inwards as they push off is the right way to use the muscles, the right way to use the hip joint, the right way to set up the gait properly. Turning the foot outwards, unfortunately, just represents tightness in some of the hip muscles. And so we're going to look for that, and we're going to figure out what is going on there. Now, if you would like one of these assessments, just click the link in the description below. There's an email there, and you can just email me. Obviously, due to high demand, I can't see everyone, but I'd like to see if I can. Now, if you'd like to consider working with us and want to talk to me or one of my team, then there's a book a call link there as well. And what we do during that call is actually a scoliosis assessment. We don't do a movement assessment like this necessarily, but we look at any information you have with your x-rays. We look at the way you stand if you don't have that, and we can actually even perform small tests on you to try and figure out what type of curve you have. And then what we'll do is we'll decide whether or not you'll be a good fit for one of our programs. If you are, we'll tell you about that. If you're not, no problems. We'll set you up with the best next step that you can take wherever that is. All right, so without further ado, let's get to the assessment. So I'll ask everyone to face me and then face away and then move in a circle. So here we have her standing here. All right, so what can we see straight off the get-go? What we have is essentially a foot on that right-hand side that looks like it's a little bit different from the left-hand side. So it's pointing out here. We can see also there's some collapsed arches in here, but generally we're looking at the lines. And isn't it amazing how the human body can adapt to having such a big degrees of curvature and almost look like it's pretty straight. But what have we got here? We've got a slight difference between the kneecaps here and here. We've obviously got a raised shoulder this side. We've got a general shift over here. Now, I'm always looking for a connection between the main joints in the body. Okay, so we've got the ankle joint here, obviously supporting all the weight, the knee joint, and then up into the hip joint. And then finally, I like to take a midsection of the collarbone and see if all these lines are actually lining up. So let's have a look. Look at that, she's not doing particularly badly. It's a little off, but yeah, pretty good. Okay, so you can see that she's shifted this way, she's shifted this way, but down here, we're looking pretty good. So let's have a look at the way she moves, and we're gonna find out if there's anything she can actually do about this. All right, so moving to the side, she actually moves quite nicely, but you can see she's a little flexed through her knees here. And generally, her weight is on the front of her feet. And so what we would like to do is, again, take these major points in the body. So we've got the ankle, we've got the knee, we've got where the greater trochanter is, where the hip is. We've got the shoulder, and we've got a point just behind the ear here. All those points should be lining up. I'm going to take a line from up here, and we're going to take it down to that ankle. And you can see here that the majority of her body is in front of that line. That is going to be putting a lot of pressure down into her feet here, into this front part of the toes. Now we already saw that that right foot was slightly collapsed down and in, so this isn't going to be great for her. So the solution here is to push everything backwards. That's going to take pressure off her lower back, which is most likely irritated in pain. All right, let's have a look at her from behind, and we'll see if we can see any more of those imbalances. Okay, so, you know, again, it's just amazing how we can almost line ourselves up here. But her weight is shifted onto that left side. So her hips are going out to the right, but the majority of her weight is down to this side. Obviously, there's a difference between the two sides of her arms, and that's to do with her scoliosis. But because she's got a double curve, which is an S-shaped curve, it actually starts to balance itself out, and that's why we don't see this huge, like a huge change like we did on her X-ray. This shoulder blade here is very normal, so it's a winging scapula, and that's sitting over the rotation of that upper curve. We'll also have a thickening on this left lower back as well. Again, very normal. Let's look at her move to the other side here. Okay, and we're seeing again this hip shifting forwards, and if we just drop that line down here, we can see that the majority of her body is in front of her plumb lines there. Okay, so we're going to get her back to the middle, and we're going to see her moving. And this is important because we want to figure out what is she doing to actually work very well in space and in gravity here. And you can see something very subtle what she did. So watch again, look at her feet. As she turns, her feet are relatively narrow, and then she knows she's about to squat down, okay? And she takes her feet apart. Now, why does she do that? Well, her body knows what's coming, right? So her brain has said, okay, we're going to squat down. And her body needs to prepare for that. And it knows that if it tries to squat straight down, it doesn't have the flexibility in the hips here, okay? It doesn't have the flexibility here and here. And so it does something. It takes the legs wider apart. Also, she externally rotated both legs a little bit, which tells me, again, both those hips need some work. All right, so we're looking at the foot here. We want to see what the knees are doing and obviously where the hips are going in this squat motion. Okay, so she actually takes her feet even further out into external rotation. And I would say that the first thing that's driving that movement is very knee dominant. Right, we can see both ankles are almost maxed out straight away. Then, oh yeah, look at the feet here. So we're going to see the feet really sort of working hard, collapsing down and in, both sides. And then she actually runs out of that range of motion in her ankles and her heels lift off. And we'll see that again as she comes from the side here. All right, so here she is. She's going to start that squat, guessing with the knees, yeah. In fact, she doesn't ever really come out of it. You see that? As she turns, she doesn't really come out of the squat. Her knees are bent, her hips are back. She keeps squatting, and the knees go forwards, 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 forwards. And we're getting that same external rotation thing happening in her hips and her feet. And it comes out of focus here, which is a bit of a shame, but we can see that her heels come up off the ground. From the back here, we can see that even better. So if anyone is actually going to send me in their video, just make sure you get the feet in it, right? We've got a lot of space up here, but we haven't actually got any space to work with down here. So I'm finding it a little tricky to get into those feet as much as I would like to. All right, well, we've got the hips that are slightly off, which is understandable. And then here you can see that foot is lifting up, and so is that one, or the left one, as she really tries to get down as far as she can go. Yeah, look how knee dominant this is. So I wouldn't be very surprised if she had knee problems, if she had Achilles problems, she had foot problems, and she had hip problems, as well as any lower back pain that might happen from her scoliosis. All right, the next movement we like people to do is to bend forward. This gives us a really nice idea of the flexibility and also brings out motions of their scoliosis. So you can really see where that rotation is. Remember, this is a 70 plus degree curve in her upper back, which is quite amazing, really. That's how much rib hump we're going to get. So for those of you who have scoliosis around 20 degrees and stuff, you might not even see a rib hump. It doesn't always show itself. Okay, this is a high one. This is 71 degrees or 75 degrees. Okay, so from the side, we're actually seeing something quite interesting. Her toes lift up off the ground. You can see that her toes lifting up on the ground, which means she's getting some weight shift into her heels, which is good. Her hips are going backwards. Her head's a little bit forwards, which is fine. As she goes down, she's actually getting some relatively good motion in her hips till about there. Then it's all in the back. But that's okay. So we've actually got something to work on here, which is really good to work with. We've got some good motion in her hips. You see it there as well, and here. So that's something we can build on as we build out her movement program. All right, let's get to her walking assessment now. When looking at someone walk, I really just like to see them walk backwards and forwards a few times and see what obviously stands out. So in this case, I want you to look at her left arm versus her right arm here. You can see how much she has to move that left arm to counterbalance maybe the decrease in rotation in her chest. So when I'm talking about chest rotations, what we want is this part of her chest to be moving this way when her right leg hits the ground here, and then be going this way when her left leg hits the ground. So watch her chest and we'll just see, does she get any chest movement left or right? Not really. It goes to the left a little bit here. As this arm pulls backwards, the chest does rotate a little bit, but not much. All right, next we want to see, does her head move left and right? Because when someone lands on their foot, when their foot is fully weight bearing like there, boom, in that mid swing phase, mid stance phase, the head should be roughly over the foot. Okay, so she's not too bad there. But let's fast forward to the other side. Mid stance phase there. And you can see her head is not over her foot. So she's not getting this shift of weight over that point in her feet as she's walking. All right, what else is going on? So let's have a look at her feet in a bit more detail here. This is interesting. I thought her right foot would collapse down a little bit more than it did, but it didn't. So she stays on the outside of her foot there. And as she rolls over and the weight comes onto it, we get a slight sort of collapsing down and in this position here, but not too bad. It's really to the end of range. But what I would like to see more of is this back heel coming up off the ground like it is, but then going, strangely enough, this way, right? But it doesn't. It points this way and we get this sort of what we call external rotation of the lower leg as we swing through. And that external rotation really is to do with tightness up in the hips here. All right, let's look at the other leg as she swings this one through here. There, okay. So is it collapsing down and in? Little bit, yeah. This one is actually slightly worse. If we look at the heel or the mid part of the foot here, the arch, this one is going to collapse down in. And then we've got that now familiar external rotation of the lower leg as she comes through. All right, so we've got some things to clear up in her gait, going from her feet up into sort of her arms, how they move, how her chest moves, how her head moves from left to right. A few things to work on there, but also there's a few things we can build on as well. The fact that she has a nice long stride is great. She's not swinging her legs in too much. That's sort of a Goldilocks thing. We don't want the legs to come in underneath too much, but at the same time, we don't want them to go out too much either. Okay, so what is she going to do next? She's going to walk away from us. Yeah, it almost looks like she's limping as well. Yeah, she's got a little bit of a limp, and we can see that right foot habitually turns out more than the left foot, and she keeps that weight over on that left side. All right, and then we did ask her to jog as well. And sometimes jogging brings out motions that aren't in some of the other movement assessments here. So let's have a look. Does this allow her chest to move? Yeah, look at her chest here. So we're looking at this line here, and now it actually starts to move left and right. Interestingly, it moves to this side a little bit more than the other side. So this is the opposite of walking. All right, then what happens in her feet? We've got some good movement through her feet here. So that actually brings out the collapse of those arches a little bit more. So here you can see as she moves faster, both arches collapse down and in even more. What happens to her knees? Yeah. So as we're weight bearing here, we have angle, angle, angle. And so what's happening here is we're getting a little bit of this sort of medial knee drive, we call it, where the knee goes inwards. And that's on the left side. Let's have a look at the right side now, okay? So we're going to go to the where she lands on her right leg there. Yeah, same thing. Now women have this more than men, but again, we don't want too much because that will cause problems in the knee joint and in the foot as well. Okay, well, the last thing I want to look at here is her mid-back. You'll see this, it really shows quite nicely when she's jogging, this change of rotation. So watch this. Can you see how that right side is not moving? The left arm is doing everything, and the right side, this is coming back here towards us. We can see that. This has gone forwards a little bit, but let's go to the other side. So we see it slightly better when we're going a bit faster. It's twisted to the left and staying that way in her upper back, even though the actual hump, this is interesting, even though the actual hump is rotated back towards the right, so that's towards us here, but her shoulders are rotated the other way, and when she moves, they stay that way. Okay, so we've got a little bit of work to do with this lady, but essentially we want to teach her how to move her hips backwards so that she loads her, what we call a posterior chain. We want to teach her how to squat and move the hips more so that she's not putting too much pressure into her knees, not putting too much pressure into her feet. Ideally, we want to get her feet to point a little bit straight to get a little bit better alignment in her pelvis, and that's going to allow her back to be in a better position for it to express the movement it has, okay? It's going to be limited, sure, we've got the two curves, but at the same time, we don't need it to be more limited by other areas in the body that could be causing a problem in the way the spine moves. So we've got a few big rocks that we can be working on there, and I'm actually going to show her how to do that in a private message to her. That's what I'll do for you as well if you want an assessment like this. Remember, the email to apply is in the description below. And if you want to work with us or find out what that's like to work with us for you, your scoliosis, for your back pain, for this whole body approach, then there's more information in the description below, and you can check that out as well.